Hi, this is in honor of all the American soldiers who have fought and died in all the foreign wars to keep democracy extant for the world. What we have in front of us, I'm in the heart of East LA, California, and that there is the Japanese-American soldier personified. And this war memorial was dedicated in 1949 by General Mark Clark and Dwight D. Eisenhower. It was dedicated in 1949 in memory to all the soldiers who fought under General Mark Clark, fighting up the spine of Italy, the Apennines, liberating one town and city after another until they got to the borders of Austria, when the war thankfully came to an end. They liberated most of Italy, Japanese Americans, along with the Texas divisions. With his majority of them were Hispanic Americans. A lot of people don't realize that. And I'm in the middle of East LA at Evergreen Cemetery, and there's a lot of the founders of Southern California are buried here. Mr. Hollenbeck, the Van Nuys, the Lancashires. And what we have in front of us here is where all the Japanese from the 442nd Infantry Division are buried. A lot of them, that's because a lot of them were from Southern California. Majority of them were brought up here in East LA, along with a big Jewish community and a big Hispanic American community. And a lot of these guys volunteered to fight fascism. And if a lot of people don't understand how Veterans Day came about, it was based on the fact that when the Allies had chased Germany back within its borders, they had the German General Staff signed the armistice, which is in Latin. It means like a cessation of hostilities. It doesn't mean an end to hostilities. And that's why the war never finished. If they would have signed an unconditional end to the war, we wouldn't have had World War II, but it was conditional that Germany would go back within its borders and stay there. And that's why World War II started 22 years later. But about November 9th, 1918, the German General Staff signed the orders of surrender, the protocols, the disengagement of hostilities, and they stipulated that the war would come to an end on the 11th month, on the 11th day, and the 11th hour before meridian. And that's why the Veterans Day it's based on that day, November 11th, when the Great War, as they called it, because there was no World War II yet, so they didn't call it World War I, they just called it the Great War. And incidentally, for what it's worth, right here in Evergreen, Stymie from our gang, he was brought up in East LA and he's buried here. I have to go look for his resting place. God bless him. He could never get his shit together. He was died of heroin addiction. So let's go over here and let's read off the citations from the Medal of Honor winners here, the 4 that are buried here along with their comrades from the 442nd. Kiyoshi Morinaga, he was 22 years old, God bless him. And he single-handedly manned his squad's mortar weapon in an attempt to destroy an enemy artillery gun. That's pretty amazing for a 22-year-old guy. And then Ted T. Tanui, he was 24. He single-handedly took out 3 machine gun crews. And if you don't know anything about German machine gun crews, there was about 5 or 6 men per machine gun, an MG42, which spit out 1,200 bullets per second. It's amazing that he would crawl up to them 3 gun crews with that storm of fire and single-handedly destroy them with grenades. And like I said, there were 6 men per crew, so 18 men. Pretty amazing for a 24-year-old, God bless him. Joe Hayashi, 24, dragged his wounded to safety and then crawled back to direct and adjust mortar fire that killed 27 men then took out another machine gun crew, 6 more. And then the last Medal of Honor winner right here, Sadao Munamori. His citation read, he was 22. God love him wherever he's at. May they all be in a better place. He made a one-man frontal attack through a storm of machine gun fire and knocked out 2 machine gun crews. That'd be 12 man artillery. 12 men in the machine gun crew with grenades, and then he jumped on a grenade to smother the blast to save 2 of his comrades. So these guys, they were devoted to this country. And then subsequently after this memorial was built, they added the men that died in Korean War dead, 1950 to 53, and then some over here, right here, and then over here they added the Vietnam dead, and then whatever this means, this kanji or Japanese script. And over here you got the Vietnam vets, Japanese soldiers. And my cousin Jerry Pies, God bless him wherever he's at, he gave his life in Vietnam. And my other cousin, all my cousins went to Vietnam. One cousin, he got hooked to heroin over there, and he died, and he was only 38, I think, in 1999, I think he died. So this is a memory for all the Hispanic Americans who fought in Vietnam and all the foreign wars. And my people got here in 1540, New Mexico. So we fought the French alongside the Spanish to kick out the French. And then we fought in the Civil War, a lot of Hispanic Americans in New Mexico. And then we fought in the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So we gave we sacrificed a lot of us for this country. And here's the Japanese soldier personified. And then let's read over here what General Eisenhower said. He said, "Those who lie here gave their lives that this country beset by its enemies might win out of their sacrifice, victory, and peace. We who are in their debt salute them." And I salute these men too. And then General Mark Clark, that was the general commanding the forces in Italy at that time, who the 442nd fought out under. "The soldiers who lie here symbolize the loyalty and courage of Nisei troops under my wartime command in Italy. I salute them. May they rest in honor, peace." Japanese liberated a lot. Japanese Americans, they liberated a lot of Italy, a lot of towns and cities. And the Texas divisions, they took out Monte Cassino. A lot of them were killed crossing the Rapido River. And there were Hispanic Americans from Texas. When you see movies, you never know that there were any Hispanics, American Hispanics that fought for any of our wars. And it's too bad because we don't ever get recognition, but I'm doing it for the Hispanic Americans here in this country, and the Japanese Americans. And it said here in the sacred memory, this memorial is reverently placed here by the Japanese American community under the auspices of the Southern California Burial and Memorial Committee, in memory of American soldiers of Japanese ancestry who fought, suffered, and died in World War II, that liberty, justice, and equal opportunity and the pursuit of happiness might come to all democratic and peace-loving people everywhere, regardless of race, creed, color, or national origin. Dedicated May 30th, 1949. And one more thing, Japanese and American Hispanics grew up alongside each other here. And if you've ever heard of a famous Marine named Guy Gabaldon, he was originally from Grants, New Mexico, but he grew up in East LA here. He single-handedly brought in thousands of Japanese enemy soldiers on the in the South Pacific Islands. He was a Marine who never got recognition for all his valor. He never even got a Medal of Honor because they said his superior officers said he was going against orders. And he grew up around Japanese, so he knew how to speak Japanese. And he would go out to stop the bloodshed. He would go out and call out to the Japanese soldiers in the little bit of Japanese he knew, and he'd bring them in, and he'd save their face where they wouldn't feel like they were like surrendering, like and being cowards. And so he never got a Medal of Honor. So this is in memory of Guy Gabaldon, who died about 2 or 3 years ago in Florida, I think. And so too bad. He brought in more men than Sergeant York, and he never got a Medal of Honor or no recognition. So that's too bad that they've never recognized him. And if the president's watching this, I think he should give him a Medal of Honor, posthumously, of course, for what that's worth. Okay, thanks a lot, and may these men thank you for your sacrifice and giving up your futures so that we can all live in peace and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you very much.